Hello YouTube and newsletter subscribers, this is Terrell from Terrell3.com. Today is April 9th, 2015. This is the Black Star Update Report for Terrell's 2015 newsletter, volume number 15. Here's my website, Terrell3.com. This is where you can get information on Project Black Star right here, 15-minute videos, lots of information here. There's a 2-hour radio show on this topic. Specifically, here's the links to old newsletters. This is where you come to subscribe to my newsletters and support the research. And the seismic chart in this, what I'm trying to do is run a comparison between 2014 at the top, 2015 orbit cycles. Here is week number 11 that we're in right now. This is not the 11th week of the year. That would be, we're on the 15th week of the year, but the Earth orbit cycle began last year, right around the 1st, but this year, later, around the 24th. That's where you see the O in the chart. So now there's the jolt value right there. You notice that the jolt value is only 343. Last year that jolt value was 536. Why is it getting lower? It's getting lower because, and let's see, let's go to the actual time. The black star is right around this area right in here right now. And when we got the outside orbit position was over here, but as we're coming around the corner, remember Earth is moving, we're down here in winter orbit about 67,000 miles per hour, coming around the corner. Well, the black star now is moving more rapidly left in the orbit diagram, which means we do get a jolt, but it is not as big as last year because the black star is moving more rapidly left. As we're coming around in our orbit, the black star is moving more rapidly left, we're getting delays, because Earth is having a little more difficulty catching up to the black star. Remember, our first Earth change uptick period is based upon Earth velocity towards the black star. As we pass its orbit path, we go into another lull period, going to outside orbit position around to this area. This year it's going to be just about right here. It's going to be the first or second week of August. Last year it was the third week in July. Right? Well, what that also means is this area right here, our second Earth change uptick period, the black star is going to be coming towards us more rapidly. So we're going to see an uptick around here, back here, but it's going to be larger than last year. That means more of our seismic events from the front side are being pushed to the back side because of rapid black star. Whenever we pass in front of its headlights here on the near side too, in May, between May the 1st, after we have this near side alignment event, it's going to be around May 1st, to May the 20th when we cross its orbit path. High seismicity right in here because it is orbiting towards us more rapidly than last year. So we're going to have a little more difficulty recognizing the lull as we go to outside orbit position because increased inbound velocity. You see what I mean? So that's why I'm understanding this more and more, and there are disparities in the chart. They look a lot the same, but there are differences and they are showing up right now. Now that being said, look at last year. Right, in week 11, we had this 4, 6, and then 4, and then 2. So this is a dive. This is going downwards, leading up to this big uptick. Okay, and the USGS only showed 3 of my earthquakes here. I'm going, where's my other earthquakes? Because I already saw them. I had to go to the Europeans. The Europeans provide the information, and we even had we were real close to going over my estimate because we had 3 5.9s. That were very close to being 6 magnitude earthquakes. Then with the 7.5 and all these 6s, then I did wind up with my half dozen value here, which that's what I expected to have. But what the chart's going to show is that yes, we had the half dozen here in week 10, but then by the week 12 we had only 2, and we still hadn't seen any 7s, and we've already had one of those. So I'm looking at this 7 here, 7.5, as one of these 6s that's just bigger from nearing black star proximity. So even though we are into April and May 1st is our alignment, this still shows a lull. The seismic chart here shows that we're just going through this period right now represented by these 2 weeks right here, 10 and 11. But then for week 12 we see a 2. We're coming up on week 12 right now. This number right here could very easily be a 1 or a 2, right? And then we should see the chart fill out more evenly down there at the bottom. Then there's a good paragraph here, one of the best paragraphs that I've written on this topic. I'm getting a good gut feel on what's going on here. So here's the deal. The thing to realize is that the sun, the Earth was between the sun and the Leo constellation in February. Whenever this is where the black star was in 2010, right around this area. That's whenever the 8.8 chilly quake happened. Then if we move this on around to March 11th, for 2011, this is about where the line the black star was on. Right. Then the next year, Guerrero, the black star was in this area. We're watching as these near side alignment dates meet up with the March 20th crossing date. The March 20th crossing date, very important when we get around here. Very, very important, because this is where the black star comes in across our orbit path according to my projections. That's why in 2013 the highest number of indicator quakes, 341, was in this week, because we are passing right in front of the black star. The magnetic portal connection is shortening based upon black star inbound velocity. So that's another reason to look for a high number of these indicator quakes in the week of May the 20th, May the 21st, right around that area. We should also see different kind of movement in the migrating magnetic North Pole. We should be all the way down here to the bottom by the end of May, right? Big giant move down here to the bottom. See where it was last year? See May the 10th right here? Now we're trailing about 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. If you look February 13th, we're at the same place, just a little bit beyond, on March the 6th. Right, so say that's March the 3rd, something like that. You see how that's 2 to 3 weeks? The migrating magnetic North Pole is trailing 2 to 3 weeks, adding the number of days to the loop, the same number of days that we're adding to this this orbit cycle. These number of days in each cycle is getting longer and longer and longer. We're not going to January 24th next year. We're going into February, and it's going to add days to the cycle, and that number of days we're going to add is going to be between 19 and 21. You're going to watch and see, and you can just about predict what it's going to be by watching how the magnetic North Pole moves. Okay, and by looking at the historical precedent in the seismic chart. That's what I'm looking at. Okay, so I want to get back to the newsletter, and that's what I'm writing about over here, the number of days. Barbara's asking some very good questions. Oh yeah, and I wanted to mention that James, Rachel, and Natalia subscribed to Taro's 2015 newsletter this week, and Lauren, Tomo, and Christine renewed their subscriptions. There's some of these people, as I've mentioned earlier, I've mentioned before, they've been with me since 2012. Appreciate your support very, very much. You guys keep my nose to the grindstone. So very good questions from Barbara. Questions that you guys, I think, should be asking when you see these articles near the top of the newsletter. Those are the ones I consider to be the most important to help you wake up, because most people do not have the attention span to read about Project Black Star or anything that has anything that's technical in it. But there's information about survival here, contacting people, things you need to do in your own. I went to the Ozarks 2 years, didn't have any people holding me by the hand. I went around and shook hands with cavern owners and met survivor group leaders and did what I needed to do to be successful. That's what success is, doing the things that unsuccessful people are unwilling to do. And that's what this waking up part of the newsletter is about, to let you see the need, so that rather than taking a vacation in Europe or a vacation in Hawaii, you're taking one into the Ozarks, and you're shaking hands with cavern owners and people that own property out there and looking for opportunities for your family. Then my job is to tell you and your survival group where to be, when to be in near proximity to your survival location. Okay, and so I'm getting more and more questions about the work of Gil Broussard right here, and William's asking about him. I'm a little bit surprised because this is about the 6th time, I believe, that I've been asked about it. If you look right here, you see March 26, 2016. He has his black star, his Planet X, coming out of the inner solar system and crossing Earth orbit path for the 2nd time on the outbound part. See the arrows? He hasn't moving in prograde fashion like mine does, but March the 26th, that's impossible. What's he doing with Fukushima and Chile and Guerrero and the magnetopause reversal event? That happened right here when Earth was in position right where I'm putting my cursor right here, right? Because the black star is moving this way. His loop-de-loop is for his elliptical curve is way off. So he's got it coming in here in August position. May the 20th position is the one that's most important. That's what the science says. I've sent tons of information to this guy, just like Kerry Cassidy, just like Marshall Masters, just like the rest of these guys. Never got a reply, right? So I've gone through and shown this type of information now quite a number of times. For those that are reading in the newsletters, they're following along, then these things, then so now you should see that his information just does not line up with what the science is saying. And I was asked to go through and forget about what my science says. I can't do that, because as soon as I see that where your object is in the background constellation is not Virgo today, then you're not, you didn't just track your object through Leo and to the right of Cancer back in 2008. You didn't do that. So I know where my object was in 2008, 2010, 2012, and I know where it is right now, and I can see the elliptical curve coming around, and it does not look like this. So see, looking at my time here, what else did I want to share with you guys? Did I show you the earthquake report? This is my second time doing this report. And Pacific Ocean Ring of Fire, I'm looking at noticeably the lack of 6 magnitude earthquakes. This is the pause that I'm looking for. Although you see the little bit of convergence up in here, that's where I'm expecting the linchpin event is up in here. The quake swarm activity over the last week is diminishing in San Francisco, around California. And can't quite explain that either. We still have the pretty good stack of flags here in Alaska, but the Kamchatka set and the Japan set, they're gone too. So we're seeing pressure shifting over into this area, and I expect the Baja California, I expect this to be higher. That's telling me that pressures are building here and that we need to be very watchful. We could have our linchpin event on this orbit cycle very easily from the data that I'm looking at right now. So the radio section here, and Sheldon sent me a Bob Fletcher. He's got some links here, part 1 and part 2, and you may be interested in listening to what Bob Fletcher has to say. And then my recent radio shows right here, 4.2. And if you download this newsletter on Thursday, you might want to re-download it after the radio show. Right after the radio show, then I take that recording, and I only record shows where I'm hosting or I'm the guest. And then you're going to see a 4.9 sitting here. That's the radio show that I'm about to do. It'll be there right after the show. Like I said, I'll put it up there. And again, you subscribe to my newsletters at terlo3.com. And let's see. The migrating magnetic North Pole is still taking a parallel course away, not directly away, but away from Siberia. It was almost going to cross the South Pole. See that 0, line? Almost going to cross there in January 23rd, and it's been running that parallel course coming down, and we're still 2 to 3 weeks trailing last year, exactly as expected. The number of days that we're adding to this loop right here, we're going to see, now we should see rapid movement right now. Moving down, we'll see if it continues trailing 2 or 3 weeks, or if we have an alignment here with our May 20th date, May 20th, May 21st. Top of this top date right here is November the 16th. That's the day we pass behind the sun relative to the black star. At least when the magnetic influence, when we came behind the sun relative to this magnetic influence right here. Because the reason I see this loop-de-loop thingy happening with the magnetic North Pole is because we are orbiting around the sun in proximity to another magnet, which is the black star. So I'll see you guys on Liberation Nation here on Revolution Radio. It's going to be at 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Catch my update. This is when, if you're not a subscriber, you're a YouTuber, and you want to get the newsletter, show up there, ask me for it in caps. Studio A, share the newsletter link. And that's at freedomslips.com in the chat room. And Thank you guys very much again for supporting my research, and I'll see you next time.